To me, it's hugely important, and it's become more and more important as I age. I do believe in the power of prayer, and I don't follow any particular religion, although I believe in all religions. Every religion is based in God. I do believe that. I do love ritual. That's the other thing. I love ritual and have always. I light incense, I light candles, I chant, my next remedy is going to be the Om sign, and, just bringing that into a remedy form. Well, I've never really talked about it. It's like talking about angels. I usually go like this, and I get very shy. And when the first book I did on angels, I could hardly talk at all. I can talk about homeopathy, and I'm very comfortable. Angels are very private to me. The Christ is very private. Mother Mary is just a great goddess in my life. And I've seen wonderful healing that I don't think would have come if somebody hadn't really invoked the highest and the best for themselves. I recently saw a mother of my tech, who you're going to meet in Bali, who you're going to meet here when you come to visit. His mother had stage 4 cancer in her stomach. It metastasized to her spine, and then up into the nodes of the neck. This is 4 years ago, and she's a very religious woman, fundamentalist Christian, who really, really believes in the power of prayer. And a member of a local church, and everybody supported her as best they could. And it just kept getting worse. It wasn't getting any better. She just kept praying and praying and praying. And then one day she went for a test, and there was no sign of cancer. She said, do it again. They kept doing it. They kept testing. They couldn't see any sign of cancer in her entire body. She was cancer-free. And they did a video of her, a testimonial, 4 years after the original diagnosis. And I had talked to her then. Her son wanted her to have homeopathy, and she was not up for it. She did not have any basis for understanding what homeopathy was. She chose a conventional and very painful process of medical treatment, but she never stopped praying. And it was her prayer it was her belief in healing and her belief in a higher power that's how she got healed. I'm not saying medical science didn't help, but I'm going to say it didn't help. What got her through it was her faith. And when I see things like that, there's a lot of freedom if you can embrace it. There's a lot of freedom in surrendering and putting your desires and your hopes and your trust into God. I really have seen it more times than I can tell you. And I'm not saying don't do homeopathy or don't get acupuncture or don't have supplements. Everything helps, everything. And sometimes I've seen people at the very end of their tether where nothing is working. And I mean, nothing is, it's like, or as they say, nothing is moving. So I ask them about their spirituality. And sometimes I've heard terrible things that they hate God for making them sick, or how could God do this to me? Well, God didn't do this to you. You did this one to yourself. Or the Indian belief, the Buddhist belief in karma, there's a lot to be said for it that we in the West don't really grasp. The thing of it is to find your gratitude, to give thanks, and keep giving thanks more and more and more. I started this wonderful practice that I just heard somebody talking about it on the internet. And he's a very famous old manifester. He's been around forever. I think he's passed away. He wrote some of those first books on prosperity. And he said, every day write 10 things that you're grateful for. List 3 people that annoy you and send them love and sit quietly for 5 minutes and then let guidance come to you and write it down. But, well, that's an easy recipe. I can do that. So I love that. I mean, it's not that I don't meditate or do other things, but I love I love practices. So I do that. And what I really loved is taking those 3 annoying people and sending love out. I love that. And then what happens is, like, I'll either meet them somewhere, they'll phone, or gee, I haven't talked to you in a long time. And I realize I'm holding that. So letting it go works. Yeah, all my whole life, I've had a relationship with angels. And here sits my friend, the Archangel Michael. And when you come to my office, you'll see in my home, there are angels everywhere, angels and Virgin Marys and the Christ and Jewish menorahs and Hindu gods. This is Lakshmi, the goddess Lakshmi, Ganesh. I'm pantheistic. Somebody said, "You're a pantheist." I said, "Yeah, I am. I'm a pantheist." It's all saluting the same thing. And it plays in medicine. I think we're fools to think that our little white pills do the trick, because they don't. I've seen a lot of death in the past, oh, I guess about the last 10 years. I'd never had dying clients. About 10 years ago, they started to show up in my practice because I didn't really know how to deal with it. I took a tutorial with Hannah Shalom. I don't know if you know her or not. Hannah's out of Toronto, and she is one of the greats. She is a homeopathic oncologist. I have a video of her on the podcast you're going to be on later today. And that's my website is Ambika at ambikawauters.com, or Life Energy Medicine. If you go to either one of those, you wind up on my website, and there's a podcast called Unscheduled Flights. And Hannah Shalom, of almost all the healers, has gotten more hits than anybody. I haven't done a lot. It's not like Eugenia. I think I've done 14 podcasts, but this woman has had a relationship with death and a tremendous amount of loss in her life, and is one of the most beautiful spirits I have ever met on this planet Earth. And I heard her speak on a World Homeopathic Community, or Homeopathic World Community, whatever it is. I heard her speak, and I got in touch with her and I said, I need a tutorial. I don't know how to handle death. I can handle life. That I'm very clear about. No problems. But death, she said, so she sat me down and we talked for, I think we did it on the phone, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I said, I can do this. And she said, if you can't, you give me a call. So that was the beginning. And I worked with doctors who would send me clients that they just would send them. And it took me a while. To digest it. But I'll tell you a story about one woman. She had cancer, but it was treatable. That I knew. I had treated the type of cancer before. And she was getting better in small incremental shifts, but I had a sense she didn't really want it. She went into hospice, and I called her and I said, I'm willing to fight for you if you're willing to fight for yourself. She said, I don't really want to fight for myself. My husband is engaged with another woman. I don't have the energy to fight it. I'm ready to go. I never heard anybody say anything like that. And I said, well, if you change your mind, get in touch. She was dead at 10 o'clock the next morning. Talk about will. If we birth ourselves in, we send ourselves out. And I've seen it way too many times to think it just is serendipitous. Death is not serendipitous. It's a choice, like birth. We come in and we go out, but we always have choice. And I think one of the things about prayer, whether you call the archangels or you call your guardian, or you call Mother Mary, or you call the Christ, or you call the Buddha, or whatever your, as they say in India, whatever your pathy is, call it in and turn it over and ask for what you want and need, because we all need help moving forward, especially today. And this time is about the spirit. You and I have met through the spirit. I know that.